conversation around national security hasn't come to an end because the terrorists and their associates have not stopped killing or abducting our people. So what exactly is going on? It looks like this is a recurrent decimal that we can tell will happen, but for some reason, we don't know what to do. Yet again, we have victims. That's why we brought in Mr. Dixon Osaje, MD Debris Protection Services Limited, who is a security consultant. Mr. Osaje, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Geoffrey.
I started by saying that we are not ignorant of how these guys operate in terms of their pattern and timing. So what I mean by that is simple. Pre-election years or any pre-election year, there's always a surge in national insecurity. For some funny reason, I don't know whether it's an African problem, but at least we know it's a Nigerian problem. So that's why people connect the dots between politicians and insecurity. What exactly do you diagnose to be the big reason why we know what will happen, but we seem not to know what to do to curb it?
Thank you very much, Geoffrey. And I think it's a very disturbing situation. And as well, looking at it from the political perspective, I think our politicians have contributed a lot in Nigeria, with all honesty, because we've seen time and again during the electionary period where our politicians, bring in board or encourage ballot snatchers, and as well a lot of talks to go into communities, snatch ballot boxes, because for instance, they are not contesting for any position or national position. That's on various fora that if we can have a position where a situation, the Nigerian government have a punishment mechanism whereby anyone who indulge or engage talks snatching in any locality or whatever, should be permanently banned from political engagement, and that is going to some extent a specific deterrence to other politicians, because we are not holding them accountable. Looking at the electionary period, yes, I agree with you that this period of time we have a lot of people or criminal elements, that hovers around our space and as well try to cause some confusion, like what has happened within this week. We have a lot of terrorism attack, banditry attack across this 6 geopolitical zone or 5 geopolitical zone of Nigeria. We have attacks in Zamfara State, in Plateau State, Kwara State, and other states, which is very, very disturbing. So for me, I think we should look at bringing them to book, and as well ensure that we punish who engage in criminal activities, because we cannot continue to live as a country whereby we have criminal elements, disturbing our people, and as well putting our citizens in a state of fear. Each electionary cycle, and this time around, I think we must go all out. And I would also want to use this media to appreciate our gallant security forces, Kayode, Geoffrey. They're putting their life on the line so that you and I can move around a bit of being seeing what has happened in just Operation Rainbow. Had a very strict response. That is, every state and every part of this country must have what we call a response teams to ensure that the response, because when you look at the measures in security engagement, you have the proactive measures, you have the preventive measures, you have the reactionary measures, and the response measures. The way in which the Nigerian military, especially Operation Rainbow, responded in the just activities, it's very, very commendable, Geoffrey, because they responded with speed and momentum, and that's what we're looking at. That every state must see how they, have a form of backing, so that those response teams will be able to respond to an incident happening within any given time, within 45 hours, so that you ensure that these criminal elements are labor in vain. The whole essence of crime prevention is to ensure that the criminal elements labor in vain. But so that part of our country, they don't labor in vain. They labor and, get what they want and go with it.
So let's explore the ideological leanings of this latest round of attacks. The headlines on the front pages of the papers this morning they give cause for reflection. Lakrawa terrorists attack mosque, kill 6 worshippers, and earlier in the month in Kwara State, what we were told by the governor himself was that, those who were attacked in, is it that town, Wara now, 75 worshippers were killed because they refused to convert to a particular type of Islam. So is it part of the entire game plan to keep, the debate ongoing about what exactly the ideological leanings of the terrorists are?
It's a tactical disposition. We understand what is playing out in Nigeria. We all know what is happening. One thing about human is that you don't like the truth is. We all know the truth, except we are trying to hide it from ourselves. First of all, when you look at the conversion, forceful conversion, I see that as a form of, deceptive moves, because we've seen how the international community and the whole global world, spying and looking at Nigeria as a case study, because in the past 1 to 3 months, we've been on the negative, position, but seeing us as a disturbing country and a country of particular concern being designated by President Donald Trump. But looking at it from the religious perspective, I think that it's scary. We've been suffering from Christian genocide in Nigeria far from today, not even in this administration, not even in the General Obasanjo administration in 1999. It has been happening because we are failed to recognize the fact that there has been Christian genocide. And I'm shocked and surprised that when the United States came on board to, gave their statements, we have a lot of spokesperson for the terrorists claiming that there's no Christian genocide. So for me, I just tend to, relax and see what plays out, because the truth is, when you have a problem at hand, you need to solve that problem. We need solutions. We don't need to hide what is disturbing our great country. Yes, I agree. Both Muslims as well are being killed, and also from the Islam perspective, to understand that even in Zamfara State, mosque was attacked and some worshippers were killed. We understand. But who are the people killing these people? And that is why the Supreme Military Muslim Council has a lot to do in the area of this attack from its people, because we cannot have a religion of peace and we have some people denting such image of religions of peace. I was born in the north, I grew up in the north, and I know that my Muslim brothers are lovely people, great people, but the radicalists among these guys must be identified and ensure that they don't bring us in a state of mess. And we need to start looking at how we resolve freedom of worship between the Christian and the Muslim. Your religion should not be superior than mine. My religion should not be superior as yours. That's why the federal government must also speak to our clerics, our preachers, and let them know that what they preach matters. Do you call your fellow Nigerians an unbeliever, or do you call your fellow Nigerians an arne, and also advise your followers to go after them because they don't believe in your own religion? That is an act of animal behavior, which we must stop this 21st century. And that is why I read through the report from the United States, and they are talking about abolishing the Sharia law. We can't have a country with different laws. One law, the Constitution of Nigeria, is supreme to govern this great country. If we have various laws, that means that every other religion will come up with their laws, because no religion is supreme to another. We all are brothers and sisters, and we must live as one in a country called Nigeria, so that we don't live in a state of negative peace and fighting here and there, so that we will shame these terrorists, these bandits that are trying to capitalize on maybe under the guise of Christian genocide or under the guise of terrorism or banditry to make Nigeria great again. We must flush them out.
Different moving parts, Mr. Osaje, in terms of the cause and what government is trying to do. I think you've talked about some of these factors, the causative factors, and it's a lot really when you think about it. And what government is trying to do, there's all of the partnerships with countries for security, Israel, Turkey, the US now, the troops that arrived, and people are expecting how much or how fast will these partnerships really yield fruit? That's yet to be seen in that sense. But another thing that the president spoke about recently is state police, right? And we see different, security agencies in this fight. There's the police, there's of course the military, which is taking on the heavy lifting in this fight. There's meant to be forest guards. There are all of these indigenous security outfits, the vigilantes, and all of them.
Do you think that that is the next solution, at least a low-hanging fruit, this state police spit? Or is there something more we need to be doing right now beyond just calling for a state police that will, we don't know how long it will take at the National Assembly?
Fantastic, the Nigerian problem is diverse. You know, when you look at the geopolitical design, the geographic design of Nigeria, we're sitting on the 923,000 square meters, and we have a lot of ungovernable space, Kayode, and that is one of the major problems the government of Nigeria needs to be looking at. Just imagine, for example, these guys, they are done, these bandits or terrorist guys, they've messed up the northeast, they've messed up the northwest, and now they're coming within the north central. Look at just north central, Benue State, north central, Kwara State, north central. So they're moving towards the north central belt to ensure they also mess around and then maybe move to the next zone, perhaps what their plan is or their methodology is. I agree. The president has, advocated for state policing as well as community policing, which I believe will strongly aid the effort of the gallant Nigerian police forces. Presently, we're practicing the centralized policing system, which is truly not good for a country called Nigeria, because we borrowed our constitution from the United States, and I wonder why we didn't borrow their security methodology, the USA, United States practice federal policing system, state policing system, and community policing system. The whole essence of these three security design is to have a quick response in the area of management of crime, and also build a relationship between people and the citizens. First of all, the people don't have trust in you or don't cooperate with any police formation, they will not succeed in the area of intelligence gathering. And that is why I strongly advocate for state policing and also community policing. Here's the problem. Are we going to have a situation whereby the political elites will mess it up, our political leaders will mess it up? We've seen how they make use of our police officers and men, sometimes unlawfully or illegally, in a centralized policing system. When we go to state policing system, I fear for state governments, because perhaps they will want to abuse it, for against a political opponent, and as well to shut down the mouth of their rivals. But to not get it right, we need to have a formidable structure to ensure that the state policing system cannot be messed up or cannot be jeopardized by any governor or any person. You should have a form of governing council or a governing board system that takes instructions from the board directly, not from the state governor. But the state governor can give the state police command or the state policing structure order, so that they'll be able to respond to crime with speed and momentum. The whole essence is crime prevention strategy. And when you talk about crime prevention, you need to go before the laws, because what happened in our country, we go after the commission of crime. When you go after the commission of crime, security has been defeated. That's a waste of time. And that's why I thought that our national security strategy should be holistically reviewed. We need to know why we're still having a lot of issues when we have a living document known as the national security strategy, not giving us what we want. That national security strategy should be reviewed every 3 years and ensure that any incidents that have come on board must be captured in that national security strategy areas on managing it and also containing with it. So we have a lot to do. State policing is the way, but we need to protect our borders as well.
Mr. Saje, well said. Thank you so much for your contribution. Mr. Dixon Osaje is the MD, Debris Protection Services Limited, and also a security consultant. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Geoffrey.
We'll take a break. When we come back, we switch gears to talking politics, while the opposition has said it's rejecting the Electoral Act amendment. The timetable for the election is out. So where are we in all of this? The opposition will be responding in just a moment. Stay with us.